It's been the longest week ever. Let's start from Fontana. That's where I left off. Basically, I got picked up at the Fontana Dam trailhead, which is by the marina. When I got the shuttle driver to pick me up from the lodge, I told him the trailhead, because that's what everybody had been calling it, but apparently there's more than one trailhead there at Fontana. So he dropped me off at the dam, which is a different trailhead, as close as he could get because he's pulling a big boat behind him. So I actually lost about a mile and 1.8 miles. And, by the time I realized, what was up, he was already gone. I was like, well, I'm not going to call him back over less than 2 miles. So who knows? Maybe I'll come back one day and walk 2 miles in flip-flops. Started from there, walked across the dam and into the Smoky Mountains.
You come around late at night, looking for some arms to hug and hold you tight. Well, I've got two of those, strong as they can be. Still don't expect no more than good, clean fun you see. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. What you get is what you see in plain view. You want honest, here it is, sad but true. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. On such short notice, I let you in, and things get nice. Sipping on some red, closing in on paradise. But this is what it is.
Right, so Shuckstack Tower, it's about 4 or 5 miles past Fontana Dam. It's kind of off on a side trail. It's a little steep, even though it's only a quarter mile. So I wound up dropping my pack on the ground and going up there. It's kind of a dodgy tower. It's got some concrete foundations in the rock, and the tower is kind of bolted onto the concrete foundations. So got a little dodgy when you're climbing up there, and it gets really windy. The view is pretty nice, even though up in the tower itself, you kind of have they're battered windows. They're kind of in the way of the panoramic view. So you actually get a better view a couple steps below the tower floor. So it's worth the climb. It's a nice little side trip.
What it will be. I don't play no game with beating hearts, you see. It's not love, but it's the best I can.
That is bear scat, I think. So I'm gonna be on the lookout. That's a giant dump right there. Right, so the thing is with the bears, the black bears anyway, is they don't understand strange noises like people talking or singing or things like that. So after seeing the giant pile of bear crap, I decided I was going to sing the bears a little running cadence after I heard a lot of rustling in the bushes. Turns out it may have been wild pigs, but works for them too. I won't make you listen to the whole cadence, but just a little bit of it because I think it's funny. Gonna be a rumble, rumble in the jungle. Gonna be a fight in the woods tonight. C-130 rolling down the strip. It's taking off like a rocket ship. Gonna be a rumble, rumble in the jungle. Gonna be a fight In the woods tonight. Mission stop secret. Destinations unknown. 54 troopers. They're gonna make it home. Gonna be a rumble. Rumble in the jungle. Gonna be a fight in the woods tonight. Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door, jump right out, and a count to 4.
What you get is what you see in plain view.
So I'm noticing something that's a little bit of a trend in the Smokies. One is there's no real trail magic to be found because the trails are a little inaccessible. And two, they have this bad habit of putting either water at the bottom of a damn 50-foot ravine that you have to climb in and out of, or putting the shelter like half a mile off the trail. And as someone who's hiking as many miles as I am, and most other hikers, probably don't really appreciate that. So I actually kind of screen for that when I decide where I'm going to stop. It's like I want to walk an entire extra mile in addition to the mileage I'm going to be walking on the trail. Nobody likes doing off-trail miles. Right, so coming into Spencefield Shelter, there's actually a pretty large group already there, probably about 8, maybe 10 people. And I was talking to them, asking where they come from, and mentioned that I came from Fontana. And this lady who was in their group, thought I was crazy. Because, it's, granted, it was almost 18 miles, but they were doing like 10 or 12 tops. So I might be putting in a little too much miles too early, but they seem like a pretty slow group to begin with. No views up here. A gorilla in the mist.
Here it is, sad but true. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. Yeah! It's not love, but it's the best I can do. What you get is what you see in plain view. You want honest, here it is, sad.
Yeah, look at this. It's just after Double Spring Gap Shelter. And these steps are suffering. But thanks to the pine trees, it's fragrant suffering. Do work. So second day in the Smokies, my goal was Clingman's Dome, which is the highest point on the Appalachian Trail. It's like, I think it's like 6,640 feet. Elevation gain for that day was going to be about 5,500 and about 3,800 down. So it's a lot of up and down. And it was about 4 miles from the end when my shin started acting up. And go ahead and write this down as the first serious injury on the trail. So I finished the day, got to Clingman's Dome, and basically I told the taxi driver that I was going to meet her there at 5:45, right? So I got almost to Clingman's Dome, and there's a bypass trail. It's like for bad weather, you can actually bypass the summit and keep, to lower ground as you go through, right? Well, it wasn't very clearly marked, and my gut hook app wasn't really locating me very well on the trail. So I went like a quarter mile down the wrong trail and had to double back, and my phone wouldn't get any signal, or it wouldn't register with the network, so I could actually call the taxi and let them know not to leave without me, because it's such a remote location that they actually take your credit card information, and if you don't show up, you get charged anyway. So I was in a mild panic trying to make it up this trail, and I finally pop out onto the paved path that goes to the parking lot and find out it's another half a mile downhill to get to the parking lot. So I did get a text message, because apparently, no matter what service you had, and I stopped several people along the way trying to get them to use their phone to call this lady, no one really gets any voice traffic at all, and you get spotty reception with text messages. But I did get a message from her that said she wasn't going to leave me, so that wound up being much ado about nothing, but tough way to finish the day. So I'd already done about 17 and a half miles, plus the quarter mile wrong direction, so make that 18, another half a mile to get to the taxi. So I was pretty wore out. Now my initial plan was to do a short day the next day. So I was going to basically get the taxi back out to Clingman's Dome and walk another 8 miles slack packing to Newfound Gap, right? And I'd be like, nice short day, spend the day in Gatlinburg, good to go, right? Wrong. Ha! Wrong. Well, the next morning, I could barely walk. Felt like my damn shin was going to split in half. So it was swollen around the area. So yeah, that really gave me pause. So started a long series of 0 days. Thought I could just rest it. Right, so the injury is to the tibialis anterior, which is like the tendony part lower down on your shin towards the outside, below the muscly part towards the knee, right? It kind of presents as, like, I could best describe it as like a hellacious shin splint, as I've had shin splints before, and they didn't swell or present when you're walking. So, yeah, it's a pretty severe strain, and hopefully I can clear this up. But it turns out, it needed a little more than that. So after 4 or 5 days of that, I tried to do the practice hike to see how I was doing. So that was going to be Clingman's Dome to Newfound Gap. So with the half mile from the parking lot, wound up being, just under 8.5 miles.
Sad but true. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. What you get is what you see in plain view. You want honest, here it is, sad but true. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. It's the best I can do. It's the best I can do. On such short notice. You come around late at night, looking for some arms to hug and hold you tight. Well, I've got 2 of those, strong as they can be. Still don't expect no more than good, clean fun, you see. It's not love, but it's the best I can do.
And it didn't get any worse, but it certainly wasn't getting any better. So combination of needing more rest and getting the shin good to go, and which of course on Dad's advice is alternating ice packs and heating pad that I got from the Walgreens. So been working on that for the last few days. The bad weather, wound up chilling in Gatlinburg for another 4 days. So I'm hemorrhaging time at this point. And you know what? I'm a little over it. Hike your own hike, know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, get there when I get there. I am watching Game of Thrones live, however, so got that going for me, which is nice. So my impressions of Gatlinburg. I'd never been here before. Apparently Dollywood is nearby, and it's about 7 miles from Pigeon Forge. It's kind of like a countrified, smaller version of Orlando. There's lots of putt-putts, chain restaurants, overpriced t-shirts, Baskin Robbins, Five Guys, great steakhouses. I'm a pretty big steak fan, right? I love ribeye. I'm a bit of a snob about it because I usually cook my own. So I tried a few of the steakhouses here in Gatlinburg. And the first one I tried was Howard's, which was, I didn't really like it that much. The steak was a bit grizzly, despite its $30 price tag. And on advice from the lady who works at the front desk here at the hotel, I went to this place called the Peddler, right? Peddler had some pretty good steaks. You know, basically you just say what you want. They bring the meat out, they cut it for you, and you go to the salad bar, and then they bring it out for you. So, very good steak at the Peddler. But my favorite for steak is this restaurant called The Park, which is next to the NOC over here. It's just based an outdoor outfitter. I want to have them get some pants there because I'm a little concerned about some of the cold weather coming up in the Smokies. I want to keep the cold, wet air off my legs. But the Park has outstanding steak. I've eaten there a couple times, and they've stuck the landing both times. Awesome. So these restaurants here in Gatlinburg, you know, usually I try to kind of favor mom and pop local restaurants because, you know, you're really kind of giving back to the community at that point. However, when they decide to fly the Jolly Roger like some kind of pancake pirate, charge you $6 for one waffle, all bets are off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of these places are really expensive. I've eaten at Shoney's a couple times. Even their breakfast buffet is a little overpriced, but it's a much better deal than some of these pancake spots around here. It's a bit of an expensive place to zero, but wound up staying at the Microtel here, and they had a military discount running, so it's not terrible. But I really needed to get off the trail and try to rehab this shin. Right, so being stuck in Gatlinburg for a little over a week here, trying to get some chores done, like laundry. Initially, I tried to wash my clothes in the sink with some Dr. Bronner soap, you know, scrub them up and let them dry. Well, it didn't work at all. Still smelled like faintly of peppermint and armpits. So, wound up throwing my clothes in a bag and taking the shuttle here in Gatlinburg, which is not very good. It runs seems like it runs once an hour, and it's only a few miles down the road. It's just not a fan. So I took the shuttle out there because the die was cast and I was already going to wait on it. But I took an Uber back. Did my laundry there, no problems, and I walked about a half a mile or so to the Food City to do a little resupply. Then caught the Uber. So that day was fairly productive. Most of the time, just sitting around. I go out to eat and ice, stretch, and rehab. Right, so after the longest week ever, ready to leave this gilded nest. It's time for this peacock to spread his wings and fly.